قبلكم لعلكم تتقون الذي جعل لكم الأرض فراشا والسماء بناء وأنزل من السماء ماء فأخرج به من الثمرات رزقا لكم فلا تجعلوا لله أندادا وأنتم تعلمون وإن كنتم في ريب مما نزلنا على عبدنا فأتوا بسورة من مثله وادعوا شهداءكم من دون الله إن كنتم صادقين فإن لم تفعلوا ولن تفعلوا فاتقوا النار التي وقودها الناس والحجارة أعدت للكافرين وبشر الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات أن لهم جنات تجري من تحتها الأنهار كلما رزقوا منها من ثمرة رزقا قالوا هذا الذي رزقنا من قبل وأتوا به متشابها ولهم فيها أزواج مطهرة وهم فيها خالدون.
Alhamdulillah, Jazakumullah khair to this young man and to his father and to his teachers, because we receive this type of knowledge and this type of presentation through the hard work of lots of people, and we should appreciate that and be grateful to them and to Allah who gave us these opportunities. Now, as to the subject at hand, we are at a time in history I will just wait for the brothers to fix the mic. We are at a time in history where there is great distress and suffering for the Muslims. And one of the strange aspects of this deen is that the iman of the believer actually increases in ease, generally tends to decrease in ease and to increase in difficulty. So this is a difficult time, and what you find is that the iman of the believers is increasing. And non-Muslims are ever more and in spite of the efforts of the mass media and the powers that be to stifle the message of Islam, this time has created a great opportunity for people to learn about Islam and to come to Islam and to learn about Allah, the Book of Allah, the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Just this very morning, somebody sent me a clip of an American woman, pink hair and nose piercings, and she was talking about her experience of reading the Quran. And she was one of those people, or she was recounting her experience as a person who had been touched by the Quran for the first time. You know, the Quran has an amazing ability to touch you, But the first touches of the Quran are the most, they're the strongest, they're the most effective. Because you're new, you're fresh, you're not expecting this. And this woman was speaking about her experience of reading the Quran. And she said that it is as though the author of this book or the giver of this book knows me inside out and knows my feelings inside out. And she said, of course, because it is from the one who created me. And it makes so much sense. So on the one hand, we have the difficulties of Muslims suffering in Palestine and in other places of the world, and the distress of the Muslims in other parts of the world who feel that they are helpless, although we are not. We have dua, and we have dhikr, and we have the opportunity to organize ourselves and to reach out to people and to explain to them the power of Islam. And on the other hand, we have this situation here. So at this challenging time, it's important for us to gather and to listen to our learned people and benefit from their knowledge and from their experience so that we can take heart. And with that, I'm going to pass you over to Sheikh Usamah. And all of us are familiar with Sheikh Usamah. He's a graduate of the University of Medina, and he has traveled all over the world to seek knowledge. And he is a veteran of Dawah in the UK and in other parts of the world. And we have benefited from his talks in this masjid here many times. And we welcome him again. With that, Sheikh Usamah.
Thank you, my man. Bismillah, alhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillahi, amma ba'd. For those of you who don't know me, and this may be your first time meeting me or hearing what my name is, I'm Abu Usamah. I'm going to say it, you say it after me. Abu Usamah. Abu Usamah. It's whenever I come to messages up in the north, they call me Usamah. I don't know why. I'm Abu Usamah. One more time. Abu Usamah. My eldest son is Usamah. May Allah protect him. And may Allah Azza wa Jal protect all of the rest of my children. And may Allah protect all of you Shabab, our daughters and our sons in our communities. So they assigned me a topic that in reality, you know, the Arabs, they say, tu'ti al-qaws bari'aha, give the broken arrow to the master. So if you have something that's broken, you don't give it to someone who's not qualified and competent. You give it to the person who's best equipped to deal with that situation. That's elementary, fundamental, it makes sense. So they wanted me to talk about some of the trials and tribulations and the fitna of the internet and things like that, social media. But we have our brother, Al-Akh Sheikh Ilyas Karmani. He's here. So he's going to do that in addition to and as a part of what his lecture is. May Allah reward him. What I want to encourage all of you brothers, especially you youngsters, but everybody here about is this very important issue. And that is the importance of being a real Muslim. We all have the responsibility of being real Muslims, not fake Muslims. The real Muslim is the one who doesn't cherry pick from the religion what he likes or what she likes, and then avoid what you don't like. That's a fake Muslim. When I say fake Muslim, I'm not saying you're a kafir, but you're not a real Muslim. So multiple ayahs of the Quran, Allah will describe the believers and He will say about them, subhanahu wa ta'ala, أُولَٰئِكَ هُمُ الْمُؤْمِنُونَ حَقًّا. Those are the true believers. So you have people who are Muslims, but they're fake Muslims. They're jive time Muslims, shucking and jiving. And many of you I don't know, some of you I do know, including myself, we all struggle to be real Muslims. There are aspects of Al-Islam we do, and there are aspects of Al-Islam that we should be doing, but we don't do them. So we do what we want to do, and we cherry pick. That's what today's lecture is about. It's an encouragement, it's an advice for each and every one of you young people to be a real Muslim. Real Muslim doesn't mean that you're not going to make a mistake. Everybody is going to make a mistake. The Malvi Saab is going to make a mistake. There's only one human being who doesn't make a mistake. And when we hear his name, we say, Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, on him. Everybody else made mistakes. So I'm not saying a real Muslim doesn't make mistakes. Allah said in the Quran, وَلَوْ يُؤَاخِذُ اللَّهُ النَّاسِ بِظُلْمِهِمْ مَا تَرَكَ عَلَيْهَا مِنْ دَابَّةٍ وَلَكِنْ يُؤَخِّرُهُمْ إِلَىٰ أَجْلٍ مُسَمَّى. If Allah were to hold people responsible for their dhulm, if he held the people accountable for their dhulm, he would not leave on the earth a single human being. But he gives them a chance until a day, Yawm al-Qiyamah, or when their death comes. So that ayah shows I have mistakes. So if Allah Ta'ala was not Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim, Al-Latif, if he was not Al-Halim, if he didn't like Allah Al-Afu, like in Ramadan, Laylatul Qadr, Allahumma innaka afuun tuhibbu afwa, fa'fu anni. You love to pardon, so pardon me. A real Muslim doesn't mean you don't make mistakes. There's another ayah similar to it. وَلَوْ يُؤَاخِذُ اللَّهُ النَّاسِ بِمَا كَسَبُوا مَا تَرَكَ عَلَى ظَهْرِهَا مِنْ دَابَّةٍ وَلَكِنْ يُؤَخِّرُهُمْ إِلَىٰ أَجْلٍ مُسَمَّى. He could have just sent that first ayat that I mentioned, but he sent another ayat similar to it. And it said, if Allah were to hold people accountable for the things that they do. The first ayat said they're dhulm. People making dhulm. So the first ayah said if Allah hold people accountable for their dhulm, he wouldn't leave anybody on the earth. And if he were to hold people accountable for what their hands put forth, he wouldn't leave anyone. So you're going to make mistakes. كُلُّ بَنِي آدَمْ خَطَّاءُونَ وَخَيْرُ خَطَّائِينَ التَّوَّابُونَ. That hadith, everybody knows it. All of Adam's children make mistakes, and the best of those who make mistakes are the ones who make tawbah. Why are we in the dunya? Because our father Adam, salawatullahi wa salamuhu alayhi, made a mistake. And what was that mistake? Allah told him, don't go to that tree. You can be in Jannah. You won't die, you're in Jannah. La taqraba hadhi shajara. Don't go to that tree. But Adam went to the tree. As a result of that, he was expelled. Now he's going to die. And his children are going to die. And his children are going to make mistakes. So that is not a real Muslim. A real Muslim is the one who, when he makes a mistake, he makes tawbah. And when he makes a mistake, he says, this is my mistake. He doesn't say the problem is with Islam. He doesn't say the problem is with Allah. This is what we do. The girl doesn't want to wear hijab. She cherry picks. She does other things. She does other things that are good. She respects her parents. She's clean. She has sabr. She makes dhikr. But she doesn't wear hijab. I'm not saying she's a kafir. We're going to say, why don't you wear hijab, my sister? She'll say, oh, that's oppressive. No. You're a fake Muslim. You're a Muslim who cherry picks and you want to take what you want. And everybody has that issue. Everybody. Everybody. The man is divorced from his wife and he has children by that wife. He doesn't want to take care of the children financially because he's upset with them. He's mad at them, mad at the mother, mad at the brother, the father. So you are cherry picking. You're supposed to pay those kids money. You're supposed to take care of those kids. Everybody has this. Everybody here. So in delivering today's advice and today's talk, it's for everybody, but especially you young brothers, because you guys are living in a society and a time that's a problem. The brother just mentioned something that's true, supported by the hadith. Rasulullah said about this time, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, "Ma min amin illa walladhi ba'dahu sharru minhu, حَتَّى تَلْقَوْا رَبَّكُمْ. Every year that comes, the next year is worse than the one that went before. So we're in 1445, 2024. 2024 is worse than 2023, which was worse than 2022, and on and on and on. We're living in the worst time known in history. So it's a tough time to be young. It's a tough time to be young in 2023, 2024. It's tough. So the Imam has to know that. The father has to know that. It's tough. So now, during this time, I didn't have to deal with LGBT when I was young. I didn't have to deal with that. I didn't have to deal with a lot of the tahaddiyat and the challenges that these kids have today. So as the Imam, I have to be able to read the room. This is not Mirpur. This is not Pakistan. This is not Africa, where I come from. The UK is not even America. I have to be able to read the room and know how to deal with the reality of these challenges. And that's why I appreciate the admin here bringing me. Because, you know, the Arabs, they say, Tuyur ala ashkariha taqa. Birds of a feather flock together. Most of you guys are Pakistani, Asian, Muslims. I'm an African American. But the brothers brought me here and they allowed me to be here. Although there are clear differences between us. Because although there are differences, and I'm African American, I have a different culture, different background, different way of thinking than many of you, but there are a lot of parallels that we can benefit from each other. So today's subject is about don't be a fake Muslim. Muslims dress a particular way. Muslims talk a particular way. Muslims go to the toilet a particular way. I love boxing. I love mixed martial arts. I love basketball. I love all of that. So if I'm in school and I have to take a shower, I'm a Muslim. I'm not taking a shower and being naked with other people because that's what they do today. No, I have to be a real Muslim in the way I keep my hair. The way I keep my hair. I have to be a real Muslim in everything to the best of my ability. That's what today's topic is about. Second point I have to mention, and this is really important as a point. I need you guys to pay attention. This is really, really important in the deen. As you guys are growing up as young Muslims, you have to connect to this Quran. Doesn't mean you have to memorize it. We have a hafiz in the masjid right now. Wallahi, every time the Sheikh Habibur Rahman is sitting in my class, I'm happy to see him. Why? Because if I make any mistake in the recitation of the Quran, he's always there to correct it. Because this is the kalam of Allah. So what we have today is cherry picking. What we'll do is we'll start the talk with reading the Quran. We'll start the talk with that. But do we read this Quran outside of this lesson? Do we learn about this Quran? So it is really important in the science of the Quran. Anytime you find in the Quran Allah is repeating the same message, or Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam is repeating the same message, it's because that thing is important. Allah won't waste his time. There are 114 surahs of the Quran. They all begin with Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. 113 times that's mentioned. And that's an ayat of the Quran. Because it's important. So anytime Allah Azza wa Jal repeats something, فَإِنَّ مَعْ عُسْرِ يُسْرًا, إِنَّ مَعْ عُسْرِ يُسْرًا, he's not wasting time. That repetition is for you to go, wow, that's important. So what we're going to mention today, there are over 35 ayat that are telling us, be a real Muslim. Why would Allah give us 35 ayat? And they're all saying the same thing in different ways. Why? Because the issue is important. An example of repetition is the famous hadith when the Prophet says, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, ad-dinu nasiha, ad-dinu nasiha, ad-dinu nasiha. He didn't say that 3 times to waste time or to be weird. He said that so when you hear that, you know what's being repeated is important. So that's what we're doing today. Don't be a fake Muslim has been mentioned in over 35 ayat in different ways. We're only going to deal with about 5 of those ayats, maybe 6, maybe 7, depending, because we got to get done. But why? Why all these ayat? It's so that you, little man, will realize you got to be a real Muslim, man. If you put your finger on the Muslim world, the Arab world, Pakistan, Africa, you pick your finger up, it will be dripping blood. It's dripping blood, blood of the Muslims. And that's despite Allah saying in the Quran, Kuntum khayra ummatin ukhrijat linnas. You are the best ummah brought forth for the people. Well, why is our blood spilling all over the place in Palestine and other than that? The answer, because you're fake Muslims, not kuffar. Fake Muslims. I'm African American. I reverted to Islam. After reverting to Islam, Allah blessed me with daughters. I have to make sure my daughters are wearing hijab. And no one sees anything from her mahasin except her face and hands. I, as the father, as the husband, have to make sure today, that my kids and my wife got up for Salatul Fajr. The blood is on our fingers when you lift it up because Wallahi billahi tallahi alladhi la ilaha ghayruhu. There was no one sitting here except that we all know people who don't pray. Everybody here knows someone who's a close relative who doesn't pray. The father prays, but the wife doesn't pray. The wife prays, but the father doesn't pray. The children pray, but the mother and father, this is how it is in our homes. The kid is 17, 18, and he doesn't pray. But he can get on that PlayStation and be on that PlayStation from Salat al-Dhuhr all the way to Salat al-Maghrib and never get up to pray. And he's not developing any skill set at all. And that's why I want to say to you older people, listen, if you have a child and your child gets up after the salat comes in, they go and make wudu. They're playing PlayStation. They get up, make wudu. They go and pray on their own and then come back to the PlayStation. You should make sajda to shukr. You should make sajda and thank Allah, because that is not the norm today. The norm is that the kid is not going to pray. So let us deal with these ayat. And there are many. I just want to mention 2 very quickly, or maybe 3 very quickly, and then focus on the 4th one, and then the 2 or 3 that comes after the 4th. Look what Allah said about the believer. وَمَا كَانَ لِمُؤْمِنٍ وَلَا مُؤْمِنَةٍ إِذَا قَضَى اللَّهُ وَرَسُولُهُ أَمْرًا أَنْ يَكُونَ لَهُمَ الْخِيرَةُ مِنْ أَمْرِهِمْ. This is the Quran. It is not befitting, it is not okay for the believing man, the real Muslim man, and the real Muslim woman, if Allah or Rasulullah decides something, for them to have any say-so. Any say-so. So the religion said to me, if a white man who was a Jew who used to kill Palestinians and he was a Zionist, he became a Muslim. Once he's a Muslim, he's my brother. I cannot look at him as being, you white man, dude, I don't like you, something's wrong with you. I can't. I got to accept him as my Muslim brother. If the religion, Allah, well, his messenger said, you have to fast in the month of Ramadan. The believing man, we can't say anything except give it the program. And I gave you a million examples, but this is not the time to keep giving examples. That ayah said, it is not befitting for a believing man or a believing woman, if Allah or his messenger decides something, for them to have any say-so. Another ayah, very quickly. إنما كان قول المؤمنين إذا دعوا إلى الله والرسول ليحكم بينهم أن يقولوا سمعنا وأطعنا وأولئك هم المفلحون. Anytime the believer is invited to be judged, Abu Usamah has a problem with the Sheikh Saab. I have a problem with my daughter's husband. I have a problem with the Muslim guy who I'm renting my house from. I bought a car from him. I have an issue with anyone. We have a dispute. You have a dispute back in Pakistan over some land or some property. We have disputes with each other. Allah said, the statement of the true believer when they are invited, let the Quran and the Sunnah judge. The believer says, we hear and we obey. Allah said, those are the ones who are successful. Most people, what do? They cherry pick. If the haqq is with me, I'll come. And I'll say, okay, yes. But if the haqq is against me and the ruling is against me, I'm not going to listen. We won't even come to the discussion. The lady wants to get a khula. She doesn't want to be married to the man anymore. He won't even come to the masjid. We have to keep chasing him. He won't even answer the phone. But if the woman did something wrong to him, he'll be the first one to come. No, man, you have to be a real Muslim. That's another ayat. Many ayat. Many. A third one. 35 ayat saying the same thing in different ways. 35. Another one. Listen to this ayat. And they are many. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned from those ayahs in the Quran, وَإِذَا قِيلَ لَهُمْ اتَّبِعُوا مَا أَنزَلَ اللَّهِ قَالُوا بَلْ نَتَّبِعُ مَا أَلْفَيْنَا عَلَيْهِ آبَاءَنَا أَوْلَوْ كَانَ آبَاؤُهُمْ لَا يَعْقِلُونَ شَيْئًا وَلَا يَهْتَدُونَ. When it is said to them, to who? Abu Lahab, Abu Jahl, Umayy ibn Khalaf, or anyone who claims he's a Muslim, when it's said, come and let the Quran judge, they say, no, we're going to follow what our fathers were doing. Allah revealed in the Quran, we have to make tawheed of Allah. Not Hazar Nazar, not Rasulullah knows the ilm al-ghayb. Rasulullah never died. I don't believe in the Mawlid. I'm a revert to this religion. If the Mawlid was true, I'll be the first one to do a khutbah every day leading up to the Mawlid. But if you tell me that the Mawlid is true, I'm going to say, okay, prove it. Hatu burhanakum. Prove it. In kuntum sadiqin. The dalil, my father did it. Well, your father's not my father. Your country's not my country. If we practice this religion like this, we're going to be divided. Now, there are some places, if I give this example of the Mawlid, as soon as some Muslims hear this, they get mad at me. They won't even listen to the point I'm making. The Quran, the ayat said, if it's said to them, come and let us follow what Allah revealed, that people say, no, I'm going to follow what my fathers were doing. So there's nothing wrong with your culture when your culture doesn't go against the religion. There's nothing wrong with your madhab when your madhab doesn't go against the religion. But if the culture and the madhab, your sheikh, your imam, your masjid, if it goes against the religion, the real believer says, I'm going to follow what Allah said. And there's a big problem. All cultures have it. This brother right here was nice enough to come from Leicester, picked me up in Birmingham and drove me here 3 hours. One of the reasons why he did that is I went with him to a nikah that I did for his wife's sister, who is from Gambia. She married a brother from Ghana, Nigeria. And when we gathered for the marriage, there was a lot of culture that went against the religion. This brother right here is from Africa. Africans, we go against the religion in our culture many times. So when I speak about your culture, don't get mad at me. I'm not putting you down in your culture. I'm saying to you, when the culture goes against the religion, you young brothers, you have to reject your culture. This is 2024. So there are many ayat, but there's this one ayat I want to deal with. It's so many. I want to deal with one more before I get into the main ayat. Listen to this ayat. There's a verse of the Quran, Allah Azza wa Jal mentioned, Ya ayyuha alladhina amanu istajibu lillahi wa lirrasul. إذا دعاكم لما يحييكم واعلموا أن الله يحول بين المرء وقلبه. Listen to this ayah. All you who believe, Fahim, Luqman, all you believe, answer the call of Allah and His Messenger when they invite you to that what will give you life. Al-Islam will give you life if you practice it. If we practice. We don't practice Islam, we're going to have blood on our hands. Our countries are going to be messed up. We're going to be similar to these Europeans and these white people and these kuffar. And when we're similar to them, they have more than us. They have more technology than us. They're more advanced. That doesn't mean they're better than. You may think they're better than you and you have an inferiority. I don't think that. I don't think anybody is better than me, except that the one who is religion is better than me. So when the brother was calling me Usamah was one of the companions of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. His mother, her name was Barakah. She was very, very black, very, very black. She married Zayd ibn Haritha, who was like the son of Rasulullah. And they had Usamah. Usamah came out dark. He came out dark. When I heard his story as a new Muslim, I said, I'm going to name my boy Usamah, because I want Usamah to know, my boy, this man in his story. When he knows his story, Usamah, my son, who knows the story, he knows Allah, knows his religion, he won't let anybody make him feel like he's a second-class citizen. Not an Arab, not a white man, no one. Because he knows Allah. And he knows the religion. So he'll go anywhere. Parliament, Congress, the White House, anywhere. And he's with his head up like this. He doesn't walk like a crazy, like he's better than everyone. But he walks with honor. He doesn't want to be like non-Muslims. So listen to this ayah. Istajibu lillahi wa lirrasul idha da'akum lima yuhyikum. Answer Allah's invitation and His Messenger when they call you to that which will give you life. Listen. Rasulullah went into his masjid sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And there was a companion, his name is Abu Sa'id al-Mu'alla. I'm going to come back and ask this question, man, at the end of the lesson. I'm going to ask some questions. I'm going to give you, wallahi, I'm going to give you all this money. I'm going to ask 3 questions. You get these 3 questions right, wallahi, I'm going to give you this money. Now, you better rest assured, I'm not going to take no easy question, nor would it be real difficult, but just pay attention. Abu Sa'id al-Mu'alla. I'm going to say it, you say it. Al-Mu'alla. Al-Mu'alla. He was praying. Rasulullah said, Abu Sa'id, come. He was praying. Praying to who? Allah. He kept praying. And then he finished his prayer. He came. He said, Ya Rasulullah, I was praying. Rasulullah said, didn't you hear where Allah said, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu istajibu lillahi wa lirrasul idha da'akum lima yuhyikum? Did you not hear the ayat where Allah said, oh, come to obey, answer the invitation of Allah and His Messenger. When they call you, answer. And he was praying, man. That's one of those mini ayat. 35 ayat. If Rasulullah calls you, come and do it. You know, Abdullah ibn Mas'ud, he was one of the 4 companions who the Prophet said, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, istaqru al-Qur'an min arba'. Learn the Quran from 4. Like a Sheikh, Habibur Rahman, the Sheikh who I'm taking his place. If a person memorizes the Quran, we're supposed to look at him a certain way. Does that mean he's always right? No. But the religious said respect him. Anyway, Abdullah ibn Mas'ud, he wasn't no little kid. He was heavy in the scale. He was one of the people. Learn the Quran from him. One time Rasulullah said, Abdullah ibn Mas'ud, go and get me the miswak. Go up the tree, climb up the tree and bring me the miswak. Abdullah ibn Mas'ud didn't say, Ya Rasulullah, you think I'm a kid? You think I'm a monkey? I'm not climb up any tree. What are you telling me to do? He didn't do that. He just left. And he went up the tree and got the miswak. Now there's more to that hadith about the people laughing at his legs. He has skinny legs. Allah created him with skinny legs. The way Allah created me this color. And I don't know if you know, but you better know today, Black Lives Matter, baby. You better know that today. I'm not apologetic about how Allah created my nose, my ears. People hating other people because I'm Bangladeshi, so he doesn't love me because he's from Afghanistan, he's from Pakistan. He's from that side of the bridge or the dam, I'm from that. What are you talking about, man? It's not our religion. What are you talking about? Africans do that. The Houthis and the Tutus, we're killing each other. And they're black people. That's from Jahiliyyah. You're a Jahil person. Abdullah ibn Mas'ud, when the people saw his legs, his feet, they were skinny, they started laughing. Look. Rasulullah said, what are you laughing at? If he was Hazar Nazir, he wouldn't ask. He would have known. If he knew the ilm al-ghayb, he wouldn't have said, what are you laughing at? He said, what are you laughing at? He didn't know. They said, we were laughing at his legs, Ya Rasulullah. He said, Wallahi, one of his skinny legs in the mizan is heavier than the mountain of Uhud. Yeah, his leg may be skinny, but that man in al-Islam is heavy. Whereas on the other hand, Yuta yawm al-qiyamati bi rajul samin azim yuda'u fil mizan fala yazinu inda Allah junah ba'uda. Yawm al-qiyamah, a big heavy man. Why was he heavy? Because he was rich. He ate the best food. So he was overweight and he was powerful. He will be put in the scale and he won't equal the wing of a gnat. So it's not about your color. It's not about what your passport is. Some of our people, they get real sensitive when you talk about their people and culture. But if you deflect it and put it on yourself and others, then they get the point. Pakistanis, Bangladeshis, Afghanis, the people from that area, they have racism between themselves. In their own country, they have that. Then they have it against the one from the other country. That's a fact. We are all here. If we go to Saudi Arabia, if we go to Kuwait, Bahrain, they're going to treat us like we're second-class citizens. And we don't like that. Well, if you don't like people doing it to you, you shouldn't do it to other people because Allah and His Messenger said, don't do that thing. Don't do that thing. Anyway, back to the point. We dealt with 4 ayat, I think, 4. This is the main ayat I want to share with you. It's kind of like the basis of what I'm talking about. Don't cherry pick in your religion. You young brothers. You know, my children, they have friends in Birmingham, and they're, black, Somalis, and so in America, African Americans, hip hop, the culture, it has affected the way our children are, our identity. So some of them don't comb their hair. Some of their hair is like that. Some of them have crazy braids. Some of them cut their hair like this. Some of them want to put tattoos on. Some of them want a dog. So I have to struggle. You have to struggle. You young people, you have to be a Muslim. You can't leave your hair anyway. You can't cut your hair anyway. You got to wear hijab. You can't, as a sister, pluck your eyebrows. Can't do that. Can't do that. You can't get, necklaces with a cross. You can't do that. You can't practice Halloween, Valentine's Day, Christmas, birthdays. You can't practice birthdays. All of this stuff is kufr and shirk, all of it, without exception. Even today, January 1st, 2020 is kufr and shirk. But we're going to come to that, inshallah. What's the ayat? This ayat is the main ayat. Now I'm going to come to you and I'm going to ask you, Luqman, Fahim, what was the main ayat today? I want you to say this ayat in English. Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu udkhulu fi silmi kaffatan wa la tattabi'u khutuwat ash-shaytan innahu lakum aduwwun mubin. Listen to the ayat. Oh, you believe, if you truly believe, then enter into al-Islam wholeheartedly, all together, and don't follow the footsteps of a shaitan, for verily he is a clear enemy to you. I met a brother today, he's Mubin. Where's Mubin? Is Mubin here? Yeah, Mubin. Shaitan is an adu, an enemy is clear. Listen. The first part of this ayat is what I want to really deal with, but I have to talk about the second part very quickly because I would be remiss. Listen, Allah said in the second part, Shaitan is a clear enemy. That's a ni'mah from Allah if you know your enemy. Listen, man, some of you kids don't know that your friend is your enemy. You don't want to have somebody who you think you cool with him, your boy, your homie, but he really is your enemy, man. You don't want a wife. You think that's your wife. She's a problem. Enemy. It's a ni'mah to know your enemy. That's why the Prophet used to make dua, Allahumma inni a'udhu bika min khalil makir. Ainuhu tarani wa qalbu yar'ani. Oh Allah, I seek refuge in you from a khalil who is treacherous. His eyes look at me and I think we're okay, but his heart despises me. إذا رأى حسنة دفنها وإن رأى سيئة أذاعها. That friend, if he sees any good from me, he buries it. He doesn't want to talk about it. He doesn't acknowledge it. But if he sees something bad from me, he spreads it out. What kind of friend is that? What kind of friend is that? If your child fails in the class, he's happy. If you get into a car accident and whatever, he's happy. If your marriage goes south, he's happy. What kind of friend is that? Relatives do that to us. He said another dua, Allahumma inni a'udhu bika min al-khiyana fa innaha bi'sa al-batana. I seek refuge in you from treachery because it is a terrible, terrible thing. Someone who supposed to be with you, he's stabbing you in the back. I'm the imam in this masjid, and the admin, they stabbing me in my back. Or I'm the imam and I'm stabbing them. What are you doing? Who in his right mind? It's a ni'mah to know who your enemy is. You young brothers, if your enemy is telling you, let's go smoke weed. Let's smoke a cigarette. Let's go and drink. Let's knock on the door and ring the doorbell and run and throw rocks at them when they open up the door. If you do that and you listen to your friends, that guy is your enemy, man. Your real friend is the one who tells you, let's do good. Let's go to the masjid. Don't be like that. But it's the first part of the ayah. Enter into al-Islam wholeheartedly. That's what the ayah said. Enter into al-Islam wholeheartedly. Allah said that. That's the kalam of Allah. So that's the basis. But let's look at another ayah. This is the basis. This ayah. Be a real Muslim, man. Be a real Muslim. Who's the real Muslim? He doesn't make mistakes? La. But he loves what Allah loves. And he hates what Allah hates. He loves what Rasulullah loves, and he hates what Rasulullah hates. That's the real Muslim. Is he He's not perfect, man. And sometimes he may get, angry. He has anger management issues. He gets angry. He flies off at the handle. He's not a real Muslim? No. He's a real Muslim because when you say to him and he's angry, ya akhi, calm down, ittaqillah, he says, astaghfirullah, and he sits down. He works on that anger management issue. Now listen. Listen, because my time is almost up. That's what that's for. I don't want to go over the time. I told him, make that thing go off when I have 2 hours left. No, I'm almost done. Listen to this ayah, because it's very close to my heart. Listen very carefully. Allah said in this ayah, وَمِنَ النَّاسِ مَن يَعْبُدُ اللَّهَ عَلَى حَرْفٍ إن أصابه خير اطمأن به وإن أصابته فتنة ينقلب على وجهه خسر الدنيا والآخرة ذلك هو الخسران المبين. From the people are those people who worship Allah on the edge, EDGE. I'm going to say it and you say it. The edge. I'm going to come back and ask you, little man. Some people worship Allah on what? You're going to say the edge. You get that right? $90, I think it is. 90 pounds, even more than dollars. There are those people who worship Allah on the edge. What does that mean? If good happens, he's happy. And if bad happens, he turns and flips away. He turns and flips away. And when he turns and flips away, he loses the dunya and the akhirah. Another ayah similar to it. وَمِنَ النَّاسِ مَن يَقُولُ آمَنَّا بِاللَّهِ فَإِذَا أُوذِيَ فِي اللَّهِ جَعَلَ عَذَابِ النَّاسِ جَعَلَ فِتْنَةَ النَّاسِ كَعَذَابِ اللَّهِ. Some people, they say, I believe in Allah, I believe in Islam, the Khilafah, Palestine, Salafiyah, Ahlul Hadith, it's the truth. Abu Hanifa. That's how the people are. But when they have a problem and they are tried, they look at the trial and say, this is from Allah. Now listen, this is very critical in this talk. I'm almost done. This meaning, worshiping Allah on the edge, has a primary meaning and a secondary meaning. This I'm definitely going to ask you. It has a, inshallah, a primary meaning, worshiping Allah on the edge, and a secondary meaning. What's the secondary meaning? The secondary meaning is he worships Allah and he doesn't know what he's doing. Like my mother and my father. I just came from America. I was there from December 16th until December 27th. My mother had a Christmas tree there. My mother had a dog there. My mother had on her Christmas tree all these lights. And I brought my 2 babies. 2 little babies. 8 months, Maymuna. I call her Maymuna. And my boy, Sheba. My mother is worshiping Allah ala harf. She doesn't know what she's doing. What is December 25th? She said Jesus was born that day. Okay, Ma. You have any dalil? No, I ain't got no dalil. Well, what the Christmas tree have to do with that? Nothing. I don't know. We just do it. My mother, my father did it. All right, Ma, no problem. When we were growing up, you worked from 3 o'clock p.m. until 11 at night, struggling, hustling, grinding. We came home from school, and my mother went out to work. My father worked 5 o'clock in the morning until 4 o'clock, something he would come home at that time. So both parents are working hard for 4 kids, me, my 2 sisters, my brother. When Christmas came, they would buy gifts and hide those gifts. I didn't know where they put those gifts, but on Christmas Eve, December 24th, my sisters, my brother and I, we would go and we would walk into the living room and whoa, all of those gifts were under the tree. Bicycle, this, and we would say, whoa, wallahi, today, I've been a Muslim since 1986. The effect and the impact on Christmas on my mind is stronger than the Eid. Because the Eid with the Muslims in the West is not that strong. I have to make it strong. But it's not like it was when I was a Christian. Because my mother and my father and the culture. Listen to what I'm about to tell you. after we would say, oh, wow, it'd be 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning. We can't open the gifts. We just knew, whoa, wow, ooh, and the lights, because my mother and my father made the room beautiful. And we were poor. After we left the gifts, we would go to the kitchen, and in the kitchen, there was a glass of milk. It was halfway, and some cookies and crumbs. You know what we said? Santa Claus was here. Santa Claus brought the gifts. And we really believed that. You know why we believed that? Because my mother and my father told us that. They had us believing that an overweight, fat white man was on reindeers flying in the ghetto. And he came to our house and put gifts under the tree while we were sleeping. Do you know white people could not come to where I live? If you were white and you came to our community, you are in trouble. But when it came to the religion, people worship Allah on the harf. They don't know what they're doing. They suspend their intellect. Like the Kuffar of Quraysh. Allah said about the Kuffar of Quraysh. The Kuffar of Quraysh were in what city? What city were they in? Mecca, the best place on the face of the earth. They used to go to the Kaaba and they may walk around the Kaaba. Allah Ta'ala said, وَمَا كَانَ صَلَاتُهُمْ إِلَّا وَمَا كَانَ صَلَاتُهُمْ عِنْدَ الْبَيْتِ إِلَّا مُكَاءً وَتَصْدِيًا. When they make tawaf, it was nothing but clapping hands and whistling. You know why? Because they had idols, shirk. But they believed in Allah. And they believed that the Kaaba was the house of Allah. They believed in that. But when they made tawaf, it was not beneficial. Recently, I saw a lady from Pakistan, recently was in Mecca at the Kaaba. And she made a video and said, I'd like to wish everybody back in the UK Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. That's worshiping Allah on the harf. When I used to go to church on Sunday, the only part of the church that I liked, the only part was when they started singing. But the preacher, I don't know what he's talking about. It was crazy. But you know what the Prophet said about us? لَتَتَّبِعُنَّ سُنَنَ مَنْ كَانَ قَبْلَكُمْ. You people are going to follow the Jews and the Christians in everything that they did. They do December 25th, you do the Mawlid. They say that Isa is the son of Allah, you say Rasulullah never died. They said that Isa is the son of Allah, you said that Rasulullah is Hazir Nazir. We're going to do the same thing. Don't cherry pick from the religion. Don't worship Allah. That's the secondary meaning. The primary meaning of this verse, it meant during the time of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and now, there are those people who, when they accepted Islam, like the brother was talking about the sister with the pink hair, one of the best boxers right now, he called himself Abdul Wahid. He's undefeated, African-American. He became a Muslim on the Sunnah. But he accepted Islam with some Salafi brothers who are gulat. They go overboard. Salafi is the truth, but not the way some people are practicing it. And Imam Abu Hanifa was an Imam of Islam. People who follow him are not like that. You're too rough, you're too tough. Salafi is easy. It's with hikmah, it's with justice. So anyway, these people, when they accepted Islam, if the rain came down and their crops grew, they said, this is a good religion. If their animals made babies, they said, this is a good religion. They came into Islam, they got married, they said, this is a good religion. So if good happened, they were happy. But if they came into Islam and there was a drought and their crops died, they said, what religion is this? He lost his money at his job. He lost his job. What religion is this? He gets mad. She gets upset. They are cherry picking. When things go good, you're okay. When you get challenged, no, you're not okay. That's the primary meaning of that ayah. And that's the way the munafiqeen are. That brother read Surah Al-Baqarah, but he didn't read these ayats because they came after. وَمِنَ النَّاسِ مَنْ يَقُولُ آمَنَّ بِاللَّهِ وَبِالْيَوْمِ الْآخِرِ وَمَا هُمْ بِمُؤْمِنِينَ. They're not real believers. They're not real believers. يُخَادِعُونَ اللَّهِ. They're trying to fool Allah. Last point in the last ayat, and there are many, but this is the last one because it's really important. This is important. Listen to what happened. Rasulullah, Allah said in the Quran, ما محمد وما محمد إلا الرسول قد خلت من قبله الرسل أفإن مات أو قتل انقلبتم على أعقابكم ومن ينقلب على عقبيه فلن يضر الله شيئا وسيجزي الله الشاكرين. Little man, I'm coming to you, inshallah. Listen to this ayah. From the people of those people, Allah said in this ayah, Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He is a messenger of Allah. He's nothing but the messenger. He's not Hazir Nazir. He doesn't know the ilm al-ghayb. إِنَّكَ مَيِّتٌ وَإِنَّهُمْ مَيِّتُونَ. He's going to die. كُلُّ نَفْسٍ ذَائِقَةُ الْمَوْتِ. What are you talking about? وَمَا جَعَلْنَا لِبَشَرٍ مِّن قَبْلِكَ الْخُلْدَ أَفَمِتَّ فَهُمُ الْخَالِدُونَ. Everybody died. The ayah said, Muhammad is a messenger, only the messenger. There were many messengers who came after him, who came before him. Many. He's not the first one. He's not the first one. Allah said, if he dies or if he's killed, would you leave your religion? Would you leave your religion? So the companions loved Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Why? Because they were real Muslims. That's why I say Salafiyya is the truth. Salafiyya is practicing and understanding the religion the way the companions did. What was the deen for them is our deen. And they loved Rasulullah even more than they loved themselves. Rasulullah said, لا يؤمن أحدكم حتى أكون أحب إليه من نفسه ووالده والناس أجمعين. None of you truly believes until you love me more than you love yourself, your father, and your children. Umar said, Ya Rasulullah, I love you more than everybody but myself. I love myself more. He said, then you're not a true believer. Just like that, Umar said, I love you more than myself. He didn't even give him a chance to think about it. Rasulullah said, if that's the case, I'm a real Muslim. Then I love you more than myself. That quick. Listen. When Rasulullah died, Umar was in the masjid and the people were there and they were discombobulated. They were confused. Did he really die? Oh, hey, it's big fitna. Umar said, if anybody says Rasulullah died, I'm going to kill you. You a munafiq. He didn't die. So the death is what made Umar forget. Sometimes if you're extremely mad, extremely angry, extremely sad, you make mistakes. You're not perfect. Not even Umar. Rasulullah said about him, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, "Lo kana nabiyyin ba'di lakana Umar." If there was a prophet to come after me, it would have been Umar. And yet he made it wrong. He said, anybody who say he died, I'm gonna kill you. So now Abu Hanifa, he doesn't make things wrong. Abu Hanifa doesn't make things wrong. Umar was wrong. And you're going to tell me a revert. You're going to tell me Abu Hanifa, everything was right. And everything was not right with Abu Bakr, Umar, Uthman, and Ali. Radiyallahu anhum. Anyway, Abu Bakr came and he went to the Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam who was dead. Sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He took the blanket off of his face. He smelt him and he kissed him. He said, you smell and you taste in death as sweet as you did in life. Allah won't cause you to die twice. That has a meaning. And he left. He came to the masjid. He said, Umar, sit down, calm down. Umar wasn't having it. He was upset. Abu Bakr left him. You can't talk to him. Read the room. He's not listening to you. Leave him. Some of us don't know how to read the room. Abu Bakr went and stood on the minbar. No one ever stood on that minbar. No one. except Rasulullah. So it shows the importance of the optics. When he got on that minbar and that people saw that, Rasulullah used to get on the 3rd step. Abu Bakr got on the 2nd step. When the people saw that, whoa, Umar looked. And Abu Bakr said, whoever worships Muhammad, Muhammad is dead. Whoever worships Allah, Allah is al-Hayy. Al-Hayy la yamut. Never dies. Umar said, when I heard that, he heard the ayat, Muhammad is the messenger of Allah. If he dies, he heard the ayat. He knew that ayat. He said, when I heard that, my legs started shaking like this. They couldn't hold my body anymore because the realization that he died, he said, I just fell down. And anybody who lost his mother or his father, someone close, you can appreciate that. Now, what's the point here? And this is the last ayat. What's the point? The point here for this ayat is respect the Malvi Sahib. Respect the Hafidh of the Quran. Respect your uncle, your father, the elders. Respect the Imam. Respect the personality in Islam. But never, ever, ever make your religion the personality. He's going to die. He may get it wrong. He may get it right. He may be sincere. He may not be sincere. So I've seen many situations where the lady with the pink hair who became a Muslim, she accepted Islam. She got married to the Muslim. And then the wedding went south. And after they got a divorce, she took hijab off and left the religion. Because astaghfirullah, she connected her Islam to this guy. I've seen that. I've seen where the brother was on the sunnah. He was on the sunnah practicing. And his wife was not on the sunnah. She had khurafat and hocus pocus and bid'ah and shirkiyat. And then she got married and she started learning the sunnah. She put on jilbab, niqab, started dressing nice. The marriage went south, got a divorce, and she went back to what she was on. You are cherry picking, man. You cherry picking. Last thing I want to mention, and I'm done. But I have to get permission because I don't want to go overboard. If they say no, I'll stop right here. But if I could just get 2 minutes of your time, I would really appreciate it. Listen to what I'm about to tell you guys right now. Listen to me. Al-Islam, udkhulu fi silmi kaffatan. Enter into Al-Islam wholeheartedly. Al-Islam. What is Islam? Islam is al-istislam lillahi bit-tawheed. والانقياد له بالطاعة والبراءة من الشرك والمشركين. Listen to me. Islam is submitting to Allah with tawheed. With tawheed. And Islam is doing what Allah told you to do. And when you make mistakes, He told you to make tawbah. Make istighfar. Number 3, freeing yourself from shirk and the mushrikeen. You are a fake Muslim if you are not Hanif. Allah said in the Quran, وَمَا كَانَ إِبْرَاهِيمُ يَهُودِيًّا وَلَا نَصْرَانِيًّا وَلَكِنْ كَانَ حَنِيفًا مُسْلِمًا وَمَا كَانَ مِنَ الْمُشْرِكِينَ. Ibrahim wasn't a Jew or Christian. He was Hanif. What is Hanif? Hanif means leaning. Leaning. Hanif. It means leaning. He's Hanif because he's leaning towards a tawheed. He's leaning towards the religion al-haq. He's leaning towards the truth. And if you're leaning by default, you're leaning away from something. I'm leaning towards you, so I'm leaning away from the wall. That's Hanif. Allah created everybody hunafa. Inna Ibrahima kana ummatan qanitan lillah hanifan wa lam yakun min al-mushrikeen. He was an ummah. He was obedient. He was Hanif. What's Hanif? Al-istislam bit-tawheed. If you are saying Rasulullah is Hazir Nazir, you are not Hanif. If you say that Rasulullah didn't die, he knows the ilm al-ghayb, you are not Hanif. If you're saying you can wear ta'weez, hey Maulvi Saab, give me a ta'weez. Give me a ta'weez so I can have sabr. What do you mean ta'weez for sabr? Just say Hasbi Allah wa ni'mal wakil. You don't need no ta'weez. If you believe in Friday the 13th, Halloween, something's wrong with you. You're not Hanif. And it's obeying Allah. And the last one, this is important and I'm done. Al-bara'atu min ash-shirk wal mushrikeen. You have to free yourself from shirk and mushrikeen. What is freeing yourself from shirk and mushrikeen? 3 things. And they all start with an ayn. This is how you remember. Ayn. Ayn, ayn, ayn. I'm going to say it and you say it. Ayn, ayn, ayn. With ayn, ayn. Ayn, ayn, ayn. You guys remember the motorcycle. They believe it. Ayn, ayn, ayn. Come on. Freeing yourself from shirk and mushrikeen. Listen. 3 things. Ayn. First ayn is you don't do their ibadah. You know, in the cell phone, when you want someone to pray for you, make dua for you, I'm going to take an exam, go to the hospital, we send emojis, make dua for me. Do we make dua like this? No. Who makes dua like this? Hindus, man. Hindus make dua. They respect each other. Christians make dua. How do we make dua? We make dua. And there is an emoji like that as well. You send that emoji. And you should put melon in it. Don't send the white ones because we're not white people. Like I'm going to send an emoji and it's brown or black. Sometimes I send him an emoji, make dua, and the hands are white. What do I do white hands for? Now, if you do white hands, that's your business. But I'm encouraging you. Be proud of who you are. Now, you guys are not as dark as us, so you can go yellow a little bit. But don't send the white ones, whatever you do. I don't say it's haram, but I believe this has some psychology stuff going on with us. Don't do any ibadah. Any of those kuffar. Number 2, the aqidah. Don't do their aqidah. What's the aqidah? Their aqidah, if you lose your tooth, your mother and your father put money under your pillow and say the fairy godmother brought it. That's what they do in America. Their aqidah is the malaika. The malaika are little naked white angels flying around, like in cartoons, Disney. They're always showing you that. They show you that the devil, Shaitan, he's in charge of the hellfire. He has a red suit with a long tail and pitchfork. Do we believe in that stuff? We don't believe in that stuff. And it's a lot of stuff that we Muslims believe in because of TV and the movies and Bollywood and Hinduism. Lastly, ayn. The Eid. Don't do their Eid. Rasulullah came and he saw that the people were celebrating. He said, what are they doing? If he was Hazar Nazir, he wouldn't ask a question. If he knew the ilm al-ghayb, he wouldn't ask. He said, what are they doing? They said, oh, this is something our forefathers used to do in Jahiliyyah. He said, leave it. Allah has replaced that with a better Eid. Eid al-Fitr. After we fast in Ramadan. Eid al-Adha. After we go to the Kaaba, man. You get married. You have a walima. You have an aqiqah. The kid memorized the Quran. We have celebrations to say La ilaha illallah. We don't have birthdays. The man makes a birthday cake and put 12, 11 candles on it and says to his kid, blow out the candles and make a wish. That's kufr. That thing, like the Christmas tree, kufr. It's Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, kufr, all gods. January, February, March, kufr, all gods. Everything about what these Christians do is kufrun billah. They changed their religion. Allah said to Isa, أَأَنْتَ قُلْتَ لِلنَّاسِ اتَّخِذُونِي وَأُمِّيَ إِلَهَيْنِ مِن دُونِ اللَّهِ قَالَ سُبْحَانَكَ. Isa, you tell the people worship you and your mother. He said, I never said that. I called to tawheed of Allah. But my mother and these people, they eat pork, they do everything. Has nothing to do with Isa. And he's going to free himself. قد كانت لكم أسوة حسنة في إبراهيم والذين معه إذ قالوا لقومهم إنا براء منكم ومما تعبدون من دون الله كفرنا بكم وبدا بيننا وبينكم العداوة والبغضاء أبدا حتى تؤمنوا بالله وحده. You people have in Ibrahim a perfect example. Perfect. And him and his community, when they said to their non-Muslim relatives, we are free from you and from what you worship. Your Christmas tree, whatever, all that, we're free from you. And there is between us enmity and animosity until you worship Allah by himself. The only surah of the Quran that doesn't say or start with Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim is Surah At-Tawbah. And it's known as Surah Al-Bara'a. Al-Bara'a. Al-Bara'atu min al-shirk wal-mushrikeen. وأذان من الله ورسوله إلى الناس يوم الحج الأكبر أن الله بريء من المشركين ورسوله. That ayat was revealed that Allah and his messenger are clean from the mushrikeen. Lakum deenakum waliya deen. I don't worship that stuff. So if you are practicing any of any of them, you are not Hanif. You're fake Muslim, not a kafir. That's what I wanted to mention. But I have to make this clear for the responsible people of the masjid. That doesn't mean we should be bad and nasty to Sikhs and Hindus and Christians and Jews. No, I'm not saying that. No, we be nice to those people. We treat them well and we respect the teachers, the people we work with. لا ينهاكم الله عن الذين لم يقاتلوكم في الدين ولم يخرجوكم من دياركم من تبروهم وتقسطوا إليهم إن الله يحب المقسطين. Allah doesn't make it haram for you to be nice and just and fair to the people who don't fight you for your religion. They don't put you out of your homes. You be nice to them. You got to be nice to them. I'm not here telling you be mean to these people. Go somewhere and blow non-Muslims up. Hurt these people. I didn't tell you that. Your neighbor has a dog and you poison the dog and you say Abu Usamah said kill the dog. I never said that, man. This is what I wanted to mention. And I'm finished here, inshallah. I want to thank all of the admin here giving me this opportunity to come to give dawah to Tawheed in this masjid. Once again, and to tell you youngsters, leave that hocus pocus Islam, that khurafat, hazir nazir, the Mawlid, this stuff that people are doing from your culture. Comes from Hinduism, a lot of this stuff. Comes from Hinduism. A lot of it, just like my mother. That stuff comes from the Greeks. It has nothing to do with Isa ibn Maryam. What those people are doing in Palestine has nothing to do with Musa. Nothing. Nothing. But they do that thing believing they're Sha'bullah al-Mukhtar. They're Allah's favorite people, can do whatever they want. And we follow them in everything that they do. So I'm going to stop here. Sorry for going over the board and stuff like that. I'm going to put my money back because it ain't enough time. If they let me do it, I'll do it. But if it ain't enough time,